More than ever, it's rare to see a single-player game that focuses on creating a detailed new world. But, is this world worth playing? Let's take a look. The Outer Worlds released in 2019, it is an action role-playing game set in a future space colony. You will create a unique character, give them skills and complete missions with numerous skill checks and choices. It has a main story you can beat, and you guessed it, under 15 hours. So to see if this may be the game for you, we'll go through the setting, gameplay, and have a look at why the story is worth playing. The setting of the game is an alternative future where a distant region of space has been colonised by different megacorporations. So in the game, you'll explore different planets and space stations. However, be aware, planets are zoned. So while you're able to openly explore the planet as you want, the maps are on the smaller side. It can feel a little linear. Speaking about the worlds, each planet will have its own corporation and local people who are trying to survive under it. This is the central theme of the game. As the story takes you to each planet, you'll need to make choices supporting the locals or that planet's local corporation, or even sometimes yourself. So if you've played previous Bethesda Fallout games or BioWare Decision RPGs, you'll have a general understanding of the choices and dialogue system. This includes the faction reputation system. However, just like those games, the aesthetic and the world building of the Outer Worlds is excellent. The colonies have a unique space western frontier feel mixed with a futuristic corporate logos. There's also a space station packed with neon lights and corporate vendors, and there's even an urban city in the game. The game's aesthetic is a constant reminder of the detailed world building that they use in the game. Even just by looking up in the sky at any planet, you're reminded of the game's space focus and amazing design. Like most games, the aesthetic will play a major role in how you feel about the game. The game feels like they squished Fallout and Borderlands together. And that's not only for the design, that includes the dialogue and humour. The game's overall corporation and settle theme are a major focus, so while the game's humour at times can be over the top, and for some even overboard, it is consistent and adds to the world building. So here's some examples of what I'm talking about.
All Spacer's Choice weapons are now 30% less likely to malfunction. You've tried the best, now try the rest. Spacer's Choice. Yes, nailed it that time.
You are still here. My deception protocols have failed. I have been programmed to express disappointment.
Something wrong? Oh, yes, well, not to worry. I've pumped your body full of a special concoction I devised to keep you from dying so horrifically. Hopefully at all, but I guess we'll see, yes?
So if you don't enjoy the writing of Borderlands or the more dialogue-focused games, or aesthetic, then this might not be the experience for you. The game has a range of different melee and range weapons that mix up the space western and sci-fi theme. Like the Fallout's VAT system in Outer Worlds, the character has an ability to briefly slow down time to make better shots. Also, weapons have a range of different stats that allow you more choice on what weapon is right for you. This is important because the game is heavy on the RPG side to allow you to have a lot more freedom. As you level, you can spend points to tailor your character to the way you want to play. So these can include, but not limited to, spending skills and perks in melee, range, stealth, leadership, or dialogue, so you can even talk your way in or even out of situations. And to add to this, the main skills even have sub-skills like stealth having lockpicking. A major part of the gameplay is the companion system in the game. So as you play, you'll run into certain characters that if you complete their mission will join your crew. And you can have up to 2 companions with you at a time, and as you play, they have their own unique missions and dialogue together. You can equip your companions with gear and weapons, and you can also upgrade their perks and use some of their abilities. Since the game is a first-person shooter, it allows for combat to be a little bit more fluid. However, this is still an RPG game, so combat is great, however, it wasn't the main draw of the experience. But I'll let you judge for yourself. With a lot of big open world games, they focus on 50-hour stories that feel empty. So it's a change of pace to experience the Outer Worlds' tighter story. Regardless on how you feel about the game, telling a story in a game can have challenges. When trying to tell a story with player choices, it is a constant balancing act between player choice and storytelling. So for example, most open world games keep their main story linear with minimal choices. And this is not inherently a bad decision. This linear storytelling is like a book or a movie. It helps make a deep connection to certain characters, tell a specific story the way the developer intended. Now let's look at games where players have story choices. These are generally extremely linear like Telltale or Quantum Break, where the game has set pieces or specific junctions for the player to make a choice. And the reason they do this is due to the immense development times to factor in the different choices. A middle ground can be games like Fallout, where they provide players with choices as they play certain main story sections. Even these games need to have some restrictions. If you're trying to tell a story, it can be hard if the player just wipes out the main characters. So it's a hard balancing act between player choice and to what degree that choice can impact the rest of the story. The reason I bring this up is because The Outer Worlds does an amazing job most of the time in dealing with this balancing act. It feels like the old Bethesda games. The Outer World goes about restricting the player by tying it into the story and world. For example, key characters can't be attacked for certain sections of the story, and these are tied in with narrative reasons. Also, each planet's major decision is between two factions. So what do I mean by that? Okay, warning, minor spoilers for the opening planet, however I'll try to avoid overall story spoilers. So feel free to skip a minute. Okay, so let's go. So the first planet you land on is Terra 2. Long story short, you need a new power converter for your ship. So you venture into the town of Edgewater, a town run by the Spacer's Choice Company. Once there, you speak to the mayor, who tells you that a bunch of the town's workers are refusing to work due to poor conditions. So these workers have left the town and made their own little community where they're growing food. He hires you, go to the local power plant, cut off their power so they will return. This is where the player choice comes into play. You can go to the people who left the town and side with them. You can talk to their leader and instead cut the power off to the town. Regardless of the choice you make, you're given multiple ways you can handle the whole situation. So for example, the first time you meet the mayor, you can just take him out and side with the people who left. You can even at any point not even talk to the people who left and just take them out. This is what I mean about playing the way you want to, even though there's some constraints. But for example, either choice you make, you still need to power up your ship. However, there are even more choices than what I said. On one playthrough, I had high enough dialogue, so after taking the power away from the people who left, I convinced the mayor to step down and he was replaced by the workers. So no matter the situation I found myself in the game, I still felt that I had the choice to take enemies head on, use stealth, try to hack my way through certain parts, or even use my dialogue to make the mission easier. And that's where the game shines, it's moment-to-moment decisions. I always felt like I could tackle any situation the way I wanted to. Alright, spoilers over for now. However, while being a narrative focus, you won't feel like your choices have a giant in-game changing ramification till the end of it. Even then, it's more narrative. That is unless you get negative faction reputation. But instead, you're given a high level of freedom in the moment-to-moment choices of how you play your character and decide to resolve each situation. I was constantly impressed how I could engage in nearly every situation in a multiple of different ways. Even so, The Outer Worlds is not an expansive giant world that always directs to the player. It is small areas that you'll mostly visit for your story. If you're expecting giant worlds like Assassin's Creed, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, then this might not be the experience for you. The game is shorter, but what it loses in size, it tries to make up for in your moment-to-moment choices. So overall, The Outer Worlds has truly amazing world building. It is a solid foundation of a future series. It has great themes and different ways you can play. If you're looking for a sandbox massive world game to have hundreds of hours in, then this might not be the experience for you. However, if you're looking for an in-depth RPG with freedom in your moment-to-moment gameplay that has a short narrative experience and hopefully the foundation of something bigger to come, then this might be the game for you.